there, it's meteorologist Jamie Singleton. I trust that I did everything correctly. I had to reset my Facebook OBS streaming software because of some bandwidth issues a few days ago. So I trust that looking down at everything, it looks like we're all peachy now. More of a bit rate issue, I believe, is why I look like an HBO scrambled movie from the 90s a few days ago. Didn't even see it till I was done, 20 minutes in. Anyway, right now we're looking at a very complex weather system once again shaping up for the area. First and foremost, thing that grabs your attention is probably off the coast. This is Tropical Storm Arthur. And we've got a little bit of cloud cover with this. I'm not too impressed with the convection in terms of the brighter cloud tops. You've got the National Hurricane Center palette open here under my cloud cover, and you don't see a lot of white that would indicate deep storms like you've got in the Gulf of Mexico. See that? That's a good storm right there. And you may actually have to watch this with time and see if it sits over that open water for long enough. But Arthur here is holding its own, and will continue to kind of move up to the north and maybe skim the Outer Banks here as we go into the week ahead. However, I think we need to pay more attention to this upper low out here that's developing near Minneapolis, going through the Chicagoland area. You can see it centered over Iowa, and this is going to dig. It's going to go straight, almost due south here after it gets to, turn the scanner down a little bit. After it gets to about Chicago, it's going to start to move south, and it will be bringing a lot of moisture with it. But here are the particulars on Arthur. And we've got a tropical storm of 45 mile per hour winds. And as typical with these tropical systems, you know, when you get to tropical storm, you're not really dealing with a whole lot of wind. You're dealing with more in the way of rainfall potential with this. But right now, it's primarily just an Outer Banks storm with some rip currents up and down the coast. You need to be aware of that. I know a lot of people are heading to the beach right now, but tropical storm warning in effect, which means tropical storm force conditions are possible within 24 to 48 hours along the Outer Banks here. That's in the blue area. They typically stick out, you know, they stick out further and get a better, the storms have a better grip on those locations. A lot of the overwash on Highway 12 may be an issue, especially if it strengthens, and it may strengthen, but it's going to stay a tropical storm, we think. And right now, the National Hurricane Center cone takes it just offshore and then curves it out to sea. Now, I should mention that we are going to have an upper low just off to the west of the storm, and if that upper low is a little bit stronger than the models anticipate, we could theoretically push this closer to the coast or bring it inland. Regardless of the situation, I do want to talk about Arthur, but I don't want you to get too focused on it right now because our biggest threat is not coming from Arthur. It's going to come from this upper low that's digging down. We had tremendous rain over the Bath County area, Highway 30, Route 39, in the Highland County and the Allegheny County and the Bath County there. Mountain Grove got hit just amazing storm totals here from these thunderstorms that developed over this area yesterday. And the problem was they didn't move. We've got a cold front that has stalled, now a stationary front over the area. And that continues to be the case this afternoon, but we don't have a lot of lift today to get much going. This is the surface analysis as of, or at least the forecast, near-term forecast. And you can see that front draped across Virginia. There's Arthur to the south. We don't have a lot of lift going on today, so I'm not looking at a lot of thunderstorm activity. I was just taking a glance at the latest hourly HRRR model, and you do see in the coming hour or two there'll probably be a few isolated storms pop up, very splash and dash, but they could sit over the same area once again and provide some locally heavy downpours. So that's something that we're going to watch. Humidity's way up out there. I've got a dew point in the mid-60s outside the TV station in Franklin County, Virginia. As you put this into motion, you can see some also as we go into Monday morning here along the coast of Virginia, coastal North Carolina, getting some wraparound moisture from this storm. But this is a convective model. It's focusing mainly on the near term, so we'll use some longer range models to figure out where it's going to go after that. Bottom line is just scattered activity and maybe even some sinking air on the outside of the storm, providing us with just isolated coverage here over the next few hours. But we are going to see some thunderstorm activity this afternoon. Not everybody will get wet, though. So looking at the upper level map, I want to show you, and I want you to key in on Virginia, right here, and this is your upper low. Watch as we go through Monday morning. This is tomorrow morning. This is going to dig and it's going to collect this short wave that's down here along the Gulf of Mexico. They're going to combine forces, and this low is going to center itself over Tennessee. Now, the wind is going to be flowing in like this and flowing out like that. As this low pivots around, it becomes negatively tilted Monday night into Tuesday. In a negatively tilted system, the air diverges very strongly on the east side of your axis here. So east of the axis, there's the axis in blue, we're in that area of diverging air aloft. What that forces is the air from below to rise up really rapidly. And when that happens, you can get some incredibly heavy moisture, a lot of lift going on. So we have a lot of forcing in place. We've got moisture in place. And at the surface, our winds are going to be coming in from the southeast and slamming up against the mountains. So as early as tomorrow night, we're already going to be in some very heavy rainfall. And this low is going to continue diving south. You see it there moving into the southeast and around Chattanooga, Tennessee here as we go into Wednesday. This is Thursday. Notice the big area of red to the north of our low. This is a Rex block that sets up. You've got a high pressure over a low pressure system, kind of like the figure 8 there. And this high is going to keep this low from moving off to the north and east. So this low is going to just sit. It's got nowhere else to go. And if anything, it could back up a little bit. And I do think perhaps Stanton and Charlottesville, we could see enough dry air from this red system here, the high pressure system, kind of bank up against the moisture and hold it the heaviest rainfall in the Southwest Virginia a little bit. I'm going to write a Patreon blog on that in just a little bit. But nonetheless, much of the Roanoke Valley area, Lynchburg, into the NRV and the foothills, south side, we have the flooding threat definitely in store for us as we go throughout the week. This is Thursday, and the low is still in western Kentucky and Tennessee. This is the Euro. This is the this is the new run of the Euro. And you can see that high pressure tries to wedge down, but that low is still there for Friday. It starts to fill. A low is basically a pool of cool air aloft. It starts to fill. The showers will break up in the more scattered activity by Friday, but they'll still be around, maybe even into Saturday, 6 days from now. Thereafter, we could see a pattern change and we could see warmer weather move back in. But I want to show you here, this is off of the UK model. This is the UK Met, the second most accurate model. So we just looked at the European model, which is the most accurate model. But these are all just models. But I'm recognizing this pattern. We often see, especially this time of the year in May, upper lows provide us with flooding chances. A lot of our rainfall comes from upper lows in the spring, and that's because we're making that transition from winter going back into summer. These pools of cold air form in the jet stream, and they don't have anywhere to go. And that can provide, again, a big problem out there in terms of flooding. So as we go through, this is precip total. Let me put you back to 6-hour precip here. I want to show you how we look at this in increments here. So as we go through tonight and going into Monday afternoon now, we have our tropical system, Arthur, here off the coast. You've got some heavy rain and storms off to the west. By Monday evening, everything starts to fill back in across South Carolina. This is in response to this system digging and picking up all the moisture. It starts to focus it Monday night into Tuesday morning, and you see all that heavy rain there in red. And you also see the upslope kicking in, enhancing that rainfall. Tuesday afternoon, more the same. There will likely be bands of rain. It looks like we'll have one main band come through at some point Monday night and early Tuesday morning. So if you have any plans Tuesday morning going to work or wherever, you may have some flooded roadways to deal with. And then we could see a break at some point, and then more showers and heavier storms form again Tuesday afternoon. It's going to be like that for several days. And as we go into Wednesday, you've got more of the same problem here. Not a lot of rainfall on this particular model, but that's just, by this time, the ground's already going to be saturated. So any showers is going to run off really fast and aid in the flooding problem, especially by this point. Wednesday, we're going to be looking at rivers flooding. We'll start out looking at small streams and creeks and ponding of water type thing. We're still going to have that threat for the rest of the week, but at some point, the rivers are going to start cresting and becoming an issue if this continues. But you see the daily flare up here. Wednesday starts out kind of dry, but then by the afternoon and evening and overnight, we turn the faucet back on again, and we're looking at more rain into Wednesday night and into Thursday evening. This is as late as Thursday night. That's the projected rainfall. Then you get out here the Friday, and the system does fill in some, so you don't see any more red, but you do see the lighter greens showing you where we're going to get those scattered showers and thunderstorms. And again, localized flooding will continue, I think, into the weekend. If you look at the let's look at, I want to show you now the total precip. This only goes out 5 days, so this only goes out through Friday. You can see the gray area there. It's a little hard to see. I'll zoom it in a little bit for you. That's Virginia, and the gray area, if you look off to the legend here, I'll show you that, is 5 to 6 inches. So 5 to 6 inches of rain certainly possible, and if you look close enough there in North Carolina, there are amounts near 8 inches up against the North Carolina mountains. This, to me, looks a lot like 2018. And we are seeing more of these systems develop as the jet stream kind of gets weaker. The Arctic is warming, and so what happens is you get a weaker jet stream, you can get these wild swings, and what happens as a result. That's how it can get colder in a warming climate. So if we look at our WPC here, I want to show you the fronts. This is Sunday, this is today. Scattered showers and storms, mainly along that front. Arthur is off to our east, starts to affect the Outer Banks as early as late tonight into early Monday morning here. It's going to be a rough go of it from Hatteras down to the Outer Banks. But for Myrtle Beach, the worst of it's probably going to be tonight. Then it starts to move north by tomorrow morning, Monday morning and the Monday afternoon. But unfortunately, not from the tropical system, but from this upper low, here comes the main cold front. The cold front itself will not be the end all to the rain, though, because the upper system is going to take over. But just a lot of rain by Monday evening, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look at that. That's incredible. This is Friday morning. It's still centered over the surface low over Richmond. I mean, we may have some severe weather and rotation to worry about if we get into a thunderstorm complex here coming up, or any additional lines of storms here by the end of the week. Saturday and Sunday next weekend looking a bit drier. In the meantime, this is your excessive rainfall forecast, and a moderate risk of excessive rainfall through a good part of this area. I've got that up on my WSV3. Let me show you that. This is the current situation with those showers and storms across Alabama and the Midwest. So this is day 1. This is day 2. So this includes us for Monday. And this is the flooding risk here from Johnson City, Knoxville, even up against almost up to Roanoke County here, and Danville has a slight risk of excessive rainfall. Get that everywhere you can see it better. That'll be in response to that digging system. And then out to day 3, this is as far out as they go. You go into our Tuesday into Wednesday scenario with more of a moderate risk for flooding here. So it's a very concerning setup, and it's none to be taken lightly as this pivots on into the area. And again, I'll show you a few more models here. You can see Arthur going almost up the coast. The NAM's holding on to a further west solution. But again, for our area, it's really just this upper system that we're going to worry about. Just lots of rain for the next several days. I would encourage you to keep it, tuned to your favorite weather source of information, and stay in tune with the forecast here over the next several days, because as early as tomorrow, this rain's going to sit in, and it's not going to go anywhere once it gets here. I'll have more updates coming up for the rest of the weekend. Enjoy it.